Hey everybody. I'm sorry, I'm not used to not waiting on a webinar, but I guess we're just jumping right in here. We are so excited to have you all join for our official SAT Prep annual webinar. We got some great friends from College Board that are here, from our success team, from our content team. So we're just excited and grateful. I am a former teacher, as a lot of folks at Khan Academy are. And your time is your most valuable resource. So we can't thank you enough of giving of your time to attend this webinar, or maybe you're watching it, over the weekend or on a beach someplace nice. I hope so. Next slide, please. So thank you. So basically, what we're gonna do today is we're gonna talk to you about SAT prep. And actually, the idea is that preparing for the SAT is not about preparing for a test. Groundbreaking, mind-blowing, right? You came to an SAT prep course, and I'm going to tell you that it's not about preparing for the SAT. So we're excited to delve in there. We're also going to talk about like what does it mean to practice and prepare for the SAT with your students, with your schools on Khan Academy. And then we're very excited to, we've got some new results from our state level partnerships that we launched last year with a couple of states to tell you about. And then we're going to talk to you about what does this look like at the district level. And then, we couldn't leave you without talking about a personal tutor for all of your students 24/7, our friend, Khanmigo. So I think I'm going to start off by turning it over. Next slide, Avi. So um, at Khan Academy, we have our partners and we have our friends. And I would say College Board is not only our longest standing partner, not only our deepest partner, but I would say our best friend, right? We for over a decade we've been working with College Board, and we are the only official SAT prep, right? So don't let anyone lie to you. Don't let I can't I can I say don't let Kaplan lie to you? Anyway, I probably shouldn't. But don't let folks fool you. They don't have the content that we have. They haven't been given content by College Board specifically so to make sure that your students are prepared with the content that they're going to be tested on the SAT. So we're super, super excited. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to a good friend of mine, Maureen Foreman. She's the vice president of all of SAT. That's the way I describe it, Maureen. So I'll turn it over to Maureen to talk a little bit about why SAT prep is more than just preparing for a test.
Oh, thanks, Ryan. Thanks for the warm welcome. We are celebrating a decade in partnership, which I love to bring up here in 2025. And thanks for the question. So I'll talk a little bit about what we're seeing across districts, right? So many leaders are investing in SAT School Day and district-wide SAT practice and prep that directly integrates into the school day. The shift is critical because it ensures every student, regardless of background, has the opportunity and support to engage in meaningful preparation. Now, fundamentally, and Brian, you alluded to this so well, fundamentally, the SAT is an assessment that is a measure of the core math and reading and writing skills that are taught throughout high school. Really the first and most critical components of supporting students in preparing for the SAT are truly excellent classroom instruction. Brian and I are former educators ourselves. I know we believe that to be true. I think we live that out as our mission every day. And when schools and districts choose to invest in the SAT suite of assessments for their students, many leaders use that as to signal, right? To signal their commitment to support for all students in accessing the SAT and supporting their post-secondary goals. Through that signal, schools and districts also incorporate the use of our free educator question banks and our full-length SAT practice exams on Blue Book, which is the very same application that they use on test day. By supporting that familiarity with SAT questions as part of the regular practice, right, of K-12 instruction, the SAT preparation it isn't seen as separate, right? It's seen as supported, integrated, connected. We're seeing promising results when it comes to districts that align SAT practice with the broader instructional goals of their schools. When SAT prep is framed as not an add-on, but as a part of strengthening literacy, math and reasoning, problem-solving skills, outcomes really improve across the board. Districts that make use of our free personalized resources like official SAT practice on Khan Academy, paired with in-school supports, report higher participation rates and measurable score gains, particularly for those students who have historically had less access to paid preparation. So if we think a little bit about some of the misconceptions, right, about equity in SAT prep, one of the biggest misconceptions I hear from leaders is the idea that equity means lowering expectations. In fact, equity in SAT preparation is about raising expectations while ensuring that every student has the resources and support to meet them. Equity first prep is not about narrowing the playing field, it's about leveling it. Another misconception is that equity can be addressed through access alone. So it's not enough to just have it available, we also have to support its use. So, for example, by simply making test prep available online, you now have access, but it's not sufficient. True equity requires active engagement strategies, embedding practice into instruction, offering targeted support for students who need more time, and creating accountability systems to ensure that students make use of the resources that we put out there into the world. Some leaders believe that the SAT prep only benefits students who are already high achieving. And the reality is that when preparation is designed to be inclusive, students across the achievement spectrum benefit. We consistently see that when underrepresented and first generation students are given structured opportunities to prepare, their scores increase, their confidence grows, and their post secondary pathways expand. How is that,
Great.
Brian? Is there
Great. They
anywhere you want me to go deeper on?
no, I really appreciate that because, we've seen the news cycles, right? We saw with COVID and folks moving away and going test optional, right? We saw College Board quickly respond and move forward with digital SATs, accelerating your ability to make sure that students could get access to these. And I think what we've seen time and time again is schools coming back, right? I had the pleasure of talking with a dean of admissions, and I talked with them about it, and there's like, it really is one of the most equitable measures that we have to ensure that we are admitting the right students into our school in a way that we don't have without the SAT. And so, and as we've seen in our practice as well, students who are preparing for the SAT, going through our SAT courses that we're going to talk to you more about, are leveling up skills in their ELA, they're leveling up skills in their math, which then results in performance on their state level test. And regardless of the state level test, it's in their life and what they're going to go on to, whether they go to college or whether they go to career, but make them more successful for that.
Yeah, that's right. And I think when you couple that, right, it's not just access to the test, but access to really solid preparation resources. And again, that signal, right, that signal that the SAT is part of the school day, is part of our school culture. It's not something that happens on a random spring day. It's something that we have been incorporating preparation for that confidence really for to approach a high stakes assessment like the SAT, I think matters, right? And I think the more that you can give the lower stakes opportunities through practice, through question banks, through knowledge and skill building across all of the foundations, medium, and advanced level coursework on Khan Academy, now you're really creating a system of support that feels integrated with our investments of, to your point earlier, valuable time in support of students' growth.
I love it. I love it. And there's a reason why we're starting off this webinar with Maureen and myself, because we see this as an ecosystem of prep and practice. And you can't just use Khan Academy and you can't just use College Board. If your students want to be successful, they need to use them in combination, right? So I really appreciate Maureen. Let's get in. I'm excited. Aviv, can you get to the next slide?
Mhm.
The next slide. Um, let's talk about data, right? So, like, I don't want to waste your time with stuff that doesn't work. I wouldn't be at Khan Academy if it didn't work. I don't think College Board would have been partnering with us if we didn't work. And College Board and us have done a lot of work to show that using Khan Academy improves your student scores, period, end of sentence. And they're like, oh, Brian, why don't you show us this data for the digital SAT? The digital SAT has only been out for a year or so. Like students started taking it March 2023 was the first 2023
Yeah. For domestic. Yep, that's
for the
right.
domestic, right? So when we do these large RCTs, we need the data. We need the data, and we are getting the data. We are getting the data, and I can allude to some early results. It's very exciting. But what we can tell you is we've got over 50 research studies, and they all show the same thing, that when students spend time on Khan Academy leveling up skills, right? Our SAT course are mastery based, so you're moving your students to mastering the 37 skills covered by the math portion of the SAT and the 11 skills covered by the reading and writing portion of the SAT. Please, my English and my math, don't talk to me about the sub skills within those 11 skills. We've got those too, okay? We've got
Okay.
those too, all right?
I'm like, Brian, it's so
Um,
much, it's bigger than that.
but so here's the data that we wanted to share with you. If a student levels up 60 skills, right? 60 skills, they show 30% more learning than the student that didn't level up any skills. That's a whole lot of extra learning. All right. Same thing with 18 hours, right? We used to talk a lot about time at Khan Academy, but we've realized, right, 30 minutes for one student is not the same as 30 minutes for another student. So what we're looking at now is kind of these skills to proficient, right? And then finally in course mastery, so if you get 80% of mastery in a course, that student is prepared to succeed at the next grade level. Next slide, please. Great, great. I'm actually now going to turn it over to Jess Hendel, who up until, I don't know, a few days ago was leading our test prep content team. And she is the brains behind everything that you're going to see today. It's just an honor and privilege to have her on. She has transitioned into a role because of the work she did on test prep. She's now leading kind of our product management and kind of prompt engineering for a newly created language and literature team, taking a lot of the knowledge that she had on the reading and writing portion of the SAT and moving it over to our language and literature program. So Jess, I'll turn it over to you to talk about what's our course like.
Thank you so much, Brian. Yes, so the Khan Academy team has been hard at work this past year, listening to feedback from educators like you and making updates to improve the experience for both teachers and students. So first, we offer a comprehensive digital SAT prep program, as Maureen and Brian have discussed, that provide personalized practice and interactive lessons. So by partnering with College Board, we ensure that all of our materials align with the SAT's content and format. And this is a free resource that helps students build their skills, gain confidence, and improve their test scores through targeted practice and feedback. Next slide, please. So College Board provides a blueprint for the SAT math section that outlines how questions are distributed across 4 domains. And those 4 domains are algebra, advanced math, problem solving and data analysis, and geometry and trigonometry. And it also shows which skills are tested in each domain. So while you're likely familiar with the test format, what might be new for you is that Khan Academy's SAT math course is aligned to this blueprint, and we'll talk about how that alignment supports targeted practice a little later on. Similarly, there is a College Board provided blueprint for the SAT reading and writing section that outlines how questions are distributed across these 4 domains: information and ideas, craft and structure, expression of ideas, and standard English conventions. And it also shows which skills are tested in each area. And just like the SAT math course, the Khan Academy SAT reading and writing course is aligned to this blueprint. And we'll share a resource in the chat so you can learn more. Also, speaking more to Brian and Maureen's point about integrating both College Board practice and Khan Academy practice, we also offer an aligned practice test review on the Khan Academy platform for every practice test that's available on College Board's site. So, how it works is after students take a practice test, their College Board score report will give them a personalized link to the review experience on Khan Academy, where we walk them through every question on the test and offer explanations so that they can follow up with targeted learning and practice. So here's a close-up look at that practice test review. And you can see that there are multiple roads that students can take to achieve understanding. They can retake the specific question, they can check their answer and get an explanation. And explanations point students to further instructional resources on Khan Academy if necessary. And they can view the correct answer and explanations for that and for all of the incorrect answers as well. So, what's new this year? We are excited to announce, next slide, please, the Get Ready for SAT Prep math course. So, this is a course that's designed for students who need extra support with underlying fundamental math skills before starting the full SAT math prep course. It covers core concepts like operations and expressions, which help students build confidence and build up those underlying skills. So while it's not direct SAT prep, what it does do is set students up for success in the official SAT math course. Next slide, please. And we also offer the Get Ready for SAT Prep reading and writing course. So just like with the Get Ready math course, this supports students who need to strengthen those underlying fundamental literacy skills before beginning the SAT reading and writing course at the foundations level. So just like the Get Ready for Math course, this is not direct SAT prep, but it does help students build the skills that they will need for success in direct SAT prep in that SAT reading and writing course. And now I will pass it back to Brian to talk about the state level model for SAT prep.
Thanks so much, Jess. And I hope that was helpful for our listeners to talk about like all of the different components of our SAT course. It is extremely comprehensive. And I appreciate you mentioning the connection between what you want the students to do in Blue Book, take practice tests, familiarize themselves with the software they'll be using, how they're going to use it, and then come to our course to really dig in on each individual skill and master those skills. So we were very excited. This last year, we had a couple of different state partnerships, but I specifically want to tell you about our Rhode Island partnership. And so um, the Rhode Island Department of Education, RIDE. So if you hear me say RIDE, it's just I'm just so ingrained in me. But the Rhode Island Department of Education came to us. I guess it was like mid-November, and they said, "Listen, we'd like to improve all of the SAT scores in the state." And I said, "Fantastic. We can get started, in June, and we'll get all your educators trained, and then we'll launch in school year 25." And they said, "No, no, no, no. We want to start in January. We don't want to lose half a year." I said, "Okay, if you're ready, we're ready." And within 4 weeks, we launched a new statewide partnership across the state of Providence, where nearly all of the high school students were using Khan Academy's SAT prep with Khanmigo to support their learning. And so Aviv's dropping in a link to you. She won't let me show it to you. I'm really, really sad. It's an awesome link, but it shows you that we made the local news in Providence. It was a dream of mine, and it happened. And so my mom was very, very proud. But you could watch that video, at your leisure. And Aviv, will you get to the turn to the next slide, please? Thank you, thank you. So this is just to show you how quickly an entire state was able to ramp up Khan Academy for their students. So if you are sitting there, district administrator or principal or even teacher, and been like, I don't know, we just don't have time for that. Like maybe we could do that in 26. No. Rhode Island, the whole state. I know it's a small state. It's still a state. Nearly 60 high schools, like 40 something districts. All of them we're using Khan Academy within like 2 months, essentially. So that kind of walks you through like this time frame. What you should think is if they can do it, we can do it. And we guarantee you, with the great support that we have in professional learning specialists, like you're going to hear from in a second, and our district success managers that you're not going to hear from, but we'll get them in touch with you if you come on board with us. You too can get this up and running in your district, in your school, or even in your state. So basically, in about 2 months, we had every high school in the state except for three. So I think we have 57 of their 60 high schools. We had 37,000 students, on the platform, and about 50% of them were rostered within 2 months. So really, really crazy. And you're like, that's great, but what did it mean? We're in the middle of, I just signed the DSA yesterday. Super exciting. And getting that data from Rhode Island. But our early analysis and from what we've seen without like being able to like do a quasi experimental with the data we need is of the 8 districts that use Khan Academy the most, 6 of them saw twice the state average of reading and writing and 4 times the state average of math improvement. So I don't know. It's pretty exciting, and we're hopefully when we're having this webinar, next year, we'll be able to show you those results with statistical analysis and the like. Next slide, please. So, I'm excited to introduce to you my friend, my fellow Taylor Swift lover. We both love Taylor Swift. Jennifer Cummings, she leads, she's a PL support specialist within our team, and she specializes in several schools in Texas, and she can tell you about her pod name and all those things. But I'll turn it over to you, Jennifer.
Great. Thank you, Brian, for that introduction. As far as SAT implementation goes, there are a few things that my colleagues have lifted up. And one thing that I want to bring to your attention is the word intentional. Having SAT during the school day is intentional. Thinking about equity of access is intentional. And when you're thinking about rolling out, whether in your classroom, on your campus, or within your district, intentional implementation is a really big piece to that. When you're thinking about intentional, it's also going to be impactful. You're building those systems and structures in place to help support students from one year to the next. So there's that continuity across. Several of our district partners include SAT preparation as part of their core instruction. As Maureen and Brian alluded to at the beginning of this webinar, it's all about including it inside of the classroom, not just having that preparation, but really having it be a part of instruction. They've inserted it into upper level courses like Algebra 2 or English 3 to reach students who are in the throes of preparation during that junior year. Teachers of those courses utilize aligned SAT skills found in Khan Academy with their actual pacing guide and curriculum. And it provides students with the relevant content that they are learning in class, as well as those testing items that Jess referred to. And the teachers are also able to determine the skill level and then any need for intervention and enrichment from that point. We have other partners who take on a little bit different approach. They actually enroll students in a designated advisory or a WIN class. Some of them even have designated seminar classes for both juniors and seniors that assist in preparation for just the post-secondary world in general, and preparing for SAT is part of that. In addition to utilizing Khan Academy SAT math and reading and writing courses to work on skills, several of our partners build in time for the full-length practice tests that you heard Maureen and Brian and Jess all allude to. So building that into their school day and into their classrooms to help identify those specific areas of improvement for each of the students. I talked about intentionality. You've heard me say that just a few minutes ago, but it really is a key component of a successful and impactful implementation. Students should know exactly why they are preparing for the SAT and how that practice can actually support their post-secondary goals. Part of being intentional is about the communication, and it's communicating with all stakeholders. So for those of you that are district administrators or campus administrators, identifying each of the individual stakeholders from teacher to student to family, and giving them a part of the implementation plan, talking about the importance of preparation and what role each one of them holds in that. Several of our partnerships are engaging all of their stakeholders. They typically see high engagement rates. They have activity on the platform, and in turn, they have a larger number of skills to proficient, which, as Brian pointed out to you, translates to points on learning, percentage in learning, and also points on the SAT. We also have a newly launched course for Khan for Parents, where parents can actually be involved creating an account, connecting their account to their students, and helping support the preparation that's happening in schools, in their classrooms, and during the class day. Professional learning is near and dear to my heart. It is something that I love to do, supporting teachers and admin. And professional learning is a huge part of a district implementation. Professional learning should be customized and inclusive to all of the stakeholders, from district to campus administrators, teachers, instructional coaches, and curriculum specialists. Any of those stakeholders that are involved in the implementation plan, having them have awareness of the platform, what's available, and what the implementation plan is specific for your district. Professional learning should be ongoing and bite-sized. It doesn't have to be a large session that's chunked full of information. Professional learning should also include the how of implementation to help the audience make the connections, whether it's that protected time in an advisory class or a seminar, or it is embedded in the core curriculum for Tier 1 instruction. And finally, professional learning should connect back to the students, and it should outline exactly what their activity says about their individual progress. Usage of the platform and tracking that usage is also another key component to an effective and impactful district implementation. You'll notice on this slide that celebrating the successes is the very first thing that I put down. You want to look for those small wins, and you want to highlight the actions that are associated with that. That typically will start a little fire, and it will allow you to continue on and build on those successes and making them bigger and bigger and connecting with more students. It can really help spur others on in their preparation for SAT. You, as a district admin or a campus admin or even a classroom teacher, you can share out at faculty meetings, PLC meetings, even post those wins inside of your weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly newsletters. You might think about creating a scholar wall to highlight students who hit specific milestones on those metrics, those skills to proficient, and identifying who they are and communicating that out and celebrating it. Build a culture that focuses on long-term success post high school graduation. You want to think about benchmarking goals for a specific cadence when you are viewing and analyzing data, and then communicating that back out to all of the stakeholders. Again, from district admin all the way to families. Share out the successes as well as areas of improvement. Provide some actionable steps and some feedback to make small adjustments along the way. We have some great built-in resources inside of the courses that Jess talked about just a little bit earlier. Unit 1 of both the math and the reading courses is titled Prepare for the SAT. We, at the district level for implementation, encourage teachers and administrators to review that content inside of that unit to help design communication and engagement with students around just the SAT itself. The unit is also, it also includes recommendations for some sort of prep plan. We also have blog posts for administrators to help support building the implementation timeline. What does that look like? Brian showed you what it looked like for Rhode Island. We also have materials to help you do that for your own classroom, campus, or school district. Khan Academy also has free support inside of the platform to help teachers with the minutia, as well as supporting student engagement and various resources. Anything from note-taking guides, data trackers, choice boards, to coupons and certificates. So here are our first few steps. If you're asking yourself, well, where do I get started? Here are some things for you to think through. First and foremost, what is your overarching goal? Are you connecting it to maybe a board goal? In Texas, we have CCR measurements as other states do as well. Are you connecting it to a specific metric within that domain for accountability? How are you going to go about supporting the students and teachers in achieving this goal? What is your plan? Are you choosing to embed it inside of the core curriculum for the first instruction? Are you choosing to go the way of an advisory or maybe a seminar course? And then finally, what does progress look like? Realistically, getting students on the platform, getting them going, assigning things, and getting them into the regular practice with SAT. What does that progress look like? And then how will you determine an individual need for adjustment? Thanks, Brian.
Thanks so much, Jennifer. And I know what you're thinking. If you're thinking about like I was as a teacher, it's like I got all these things to do. I've got, if you're a principal, if you're just, there's so much things to do. How am I going to do this? And that's why we started the district partnership program, is to provide districts, schools with the resources to do this, right? And so I'll mention the stat is it when what we saw at Khan Academy is if we just left it to the individual learners to explore Khan Academy and use Khan Academy, they they weren't getting to the efficacious level that we wanted them to. And what we've seen is when teachers work with students in the structure of a district, in the structure of a school, we see about tenfold, 8 to 14-fold increase in the number of students who reach that efficacious. And so what we started was the district program so that you could have supports like Jennifer provides through PL, like her colleague Cody provides from a success management point of view. And so if you'll go to the next slide, I can talk through. So Khan Academy, we're all about a free world-class education, and that hasn't changed. Every student around the world and every teacher around the world can use our content with their students, right? That's free. The district product, right, what we sell is the layer above that, and it really is for districts, right? And so what a district is purchasing there is they're purchasing automatic rostering through Clever or ClassLink for all of your students. So no more worrying about like updating your roster. Like it is all done for you automatically. You get special district admin dashboards so you can see like what your teachers and what your students even are doing across the district on SAT or on third grade grammar, right? Whatever you are interested in, we have that, and you can, as a district administrator, you can track that, and at a principal, you can see that at the school level. And I think the real reason people use the district is Jennifer, right? You get PL specialist, you get a success manager, so yeah, it really is. We are excited about this, and we see it as a partnership, right? It's our Khan Academy, for districts partnership, because we are working with you, and we have the same goals. We want your students learning, right? Khan Academy, we are a nonprofit. Our bottom line is not did we make money or did we not? No, no. Our bottom line is did your students learn? And then a couple years ago, we were the first to market with the first AI tutor. Khanmigo, and it's a 24/7 available to your students. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how when you combine our SAT prep and Khanmigo, you get a personalized SAT tutor for all of your students right there. Um, so why Khanmigo? Your students can use GPT for free, right? Your students can go on and get a cut rate version of Gemini for free, right? So why Khanmigo? One, Gemini was not developed to support learning. GPT was not developed to support learning. Khanmigo was developed with the sole focus of learning. We just got back some early findings from Michigan State. Fascinating. So what they found was their students at Michigan State, some of them didn't like Khanmigo. And when you read their responses, they go, GPT gives me the answer. Why? Like Khanmigo doesn't give me the answer. That's exactly right. And it takes a lot of work. It's actually like not an easy thing to get the LLM, right? The chatbot. It's designed to give you an answer. That's what it wants to do. That's its mission in life. And we've had to develop Khanmigo to not do that. So Khanmigo acts as a Socratic tutor. Another reason, moderation, right? If you're under 18, you cannot use Khanmigo by yourself, all right? So Khanmigo is going to always be linked to an adult's account. It's either a parent account, if the parent is the purchaser, or it's the teacher's account if the district is the purchaser through our district partnership program. And why is that? Every interaction that a student under 18 has with Khanmigo is logged and tracked. And they know that, right? It says there, right there in front of them, every interaction is being recorded. So if I'm a parent and I want to see what my student's been talking about with Khanmigo, I can pull it up. I can actually use Khanmigo to tell me what my student's been talking about with Khanmigo. I don't mean to get so meta with you, but and if I'm a teacher, oh man, my favorite thing is to just go, hey, Khanmigo, what were my students struggling with this last week? Well, they were really having trouble with the Pythagorean theorem, right? And actually, Jess and Jennifer ace the Pythagorean theorem, but they were struggling when you applied it to other areas like word problems or whatnot. Not that they do, Jess and Jennifer would ace the Pythagorean theorem in any form. And then finally, the moderation alerts the teachers or alerts the parent if anything is off, right? So if I'm working with Khanmigo and I'm like, hey, what'd you think about the Chiefs game last night? Khanmigo's gonna be like, I'm sorry, we're talking about the Pythagorean theorem, not the Chiefs, right? They're not gonna, Khanmigo's not gonna report that to the parent. But if the student ever mentioned anything inappropriate, then the teacher is going to be immediately notified. Next slide. Okay. Khanmigo speaks languages. Speaks. Okay, listen. This slide tells you Khanmigo speaks 3 languages. It speaks it speaks English, speaks Hindi, it speaks Portuguese, Spanish. I don't know if we can turn off this recording, but I have not met a language that Khanmigo couldn't speak. It's optimized for these 4 languages, but I use it for all kinds of stuff. If we were doing a live demo right now, I would ask you to come up with the most obscure language you could find, and I would show you that Khanmigo can speak that language and it can interact with you in that way. And the students can just, talk to Khanmigo about that, or they can set it in for Portuguese and Spanish. Those are settings that the students can actually use if they want to interact with it only in Spanish or only in Portuguese. Next slide. Um, Clearly, accessibility is no, I would say learning and accessibility fight in Khan Academy for what's more important because if it is not accessible to a student, they cannot learn, right? And so you have to have accessibility in order to have learning. So we have text to speech, we have speech to text, we have a math palette so they can have all the fun things to calculate there. Next slide. This is just because we're not doing a live demo for you. We just want to walk you through how Khanmigo works. So basically, if you're familiar with our content, it's either articles, it's videos, or it's exercises. So Khanmigo if you're on a video or if you're on an article, Khanmigo can be there to help your students summarize it. They can chat with Khanmigo about the video or about the article. If they're doing an exercise, it's like a tutor that's right there for them. And then it always answers the age-old question, why do I have to learn this, right? And then importantly, Khanmigo is not available on quizzes and unit tests, right? So when you are giving your student a quiz or a unit test or a course challenge, Khanmigo will be asleep, and the student cannot use Khanmigo during that. But any other setting, whether they're watching articles, videos, or they're doing exercise, Khanmigo is this 24/7 tutor for them. Khanmigo can obviously go into more detail and be more verbose. But Khanmigo can already be a little verbose, so I use it often to be like, no, Khanmigo, I just need you to tell me in like one line. So it can summarize it. It can say, hey, tell it to me like a third grader, tell it to me like I'm a college professor, and Khanmigo can adjust to the student's levels and the student's needs. Next slide. Okay, because this is an audience that's particularly interested in SAT, we specifically have some Khanmigo activities just for you. So your students or your teachers, whoever, can talk with Khanmigo about financial aid, college admissions, help them through the process that can be opaque at times. If they have an admission essay, they can talk with Khanmigo and have it review their admission essay. Or maybe they don't know what they want to talk about on their mission essay, and then Khanmigo can help them brainstorm. Again, Khanmigo is not writing their admission essay like GPT would do, like Gemini would do. There's plenty of products that will do that for them. Khanmigo is asking them questions about, what would you like to write? What are your interests? What are your hobbies? What are things that you've done that were particularly defining in your life? Oh, that's interesting. You might want to think about your main topic there. It could be strengthened with more evidence. And then finally, it can advise them on career or academic growth, which is really what this is all about, right? Success in college, so success in career. Those can be separate, right? We're not saying that ever, right? Like whichever route the student chooses, and then successful in life. And so, Aviv, I think with that, we're just saying like, I'm sure everyone on this site at this point wants a Khan Academy for districts. So the most important thing to do is show you this QR code, which will lead you to a page where you can submit a request so that we can get in touch with you to provide Khan Academy districts with you. And you might say, it's already September 18th. The school year's already started. We will gladly get you ramped up on Khan Academy districts. I don't know, Jennifer, how long it take? You a week? 2 weeks? What are we talking about?
We can get it up and going in a pretty fast amount.
Jennifer said October 1. Jennifer said that we will have you up and running by October 1. All right. I think we're answering questions. I think we've come to the Q&A part. Thank you again. Thank you again. We hope that you will stay and ask questions and listen to our answers to questions. I think you'll get a recording of this. I'm pretty sure you'll get a recording of this. This
Yes.
recording will be made available. You'll get emails from us. Not more than you want. Tell us if you don't want that many emails. We can moderate that. But let's turn it over to questions.
Catherine, we'll take your question first, please.
I think you have to come off mute, Catherine.
Yep. We can come back to Catherine if Adrian is here. Althea, Alina, Allison.
Aviv,
Other Allison.
are people able to come off mute?
Yeah, they are. You have to ask them to unmute. I'm sorry, folks. If feel free to drop your questions in the chat. Oh, okay. Thank you, Maury. Thank you, Mary.
Aviv, do you want to are you able to read a few questions?
Yeah, I can read you one question. So we had We had someone ask about how sort of what the reporting looks like. And so this is probably a good question for Jennifer. Um, when you partner with Khan Academy, the data that you get, is it school by school? Is it the whole district? Can you see down to the student level? So if you could speak to that, it would be helpful.
Sure, absolutely. So, as part of the district partnership, with the rostering and the student information system, the way that information flows and the way that everything is set up, a teacher is able to obviously see the students who are rostered to their particular classes. And then with the partnership, the campus administrators are able to see the data for the entire school. So, instructional coaches, a lot of times we work with instructional coaches, we work with assistant principals, we work with principals on a campus level. They are able to see reports from individual students looking at their time spent on the platform, skills to proficient, what courses students are working in. They can also see just larger picture across the board what's going on with Khanmigo. As a campus administrator, they also have the opportunity and the ability to select to receive high severity moderations. So Brian talked a little bit about the teacher moderation emails with Khanmigo, getting that flag when a student has spoken something that's inappropriate, talked about hurting themselves or someone else. Campus administrators can have that opportunity as well. So there are a variety of reports on the campus level. And then we go up one more level. District admin in the district partnership are able to see across the district. So usually this is going to be our contact person, a particular department. When we talk about SAT, a lot of times it's the advanced academics department. It might be a CCMR department, or even a secondary instructional department or curriculum, and they're able to see across the district. So all of the schools that are part of the partnership, the people on the district level would be able to see the same information down to courses being used, skills leveled up, skills to proficient, the amount of time that's being spent on. They can also see what types of activities that students are utilizing Khanmigo for. Are they utilizing it inside of the platform, or are they talking with Khanmigo and doing some of our learner activities? So the different amount of data kind of expands as the role, as it kind of rolls up to a district level that's part of a district partnership.
Thank you, Jennifer. And yeah, Brian, we are at time, so we will wrap. Thank you so
Thank,
much, everyone. Brian, closing words?
yeah. Thank y'all so much. I just want to thank Maureen Foreman from College Board for giving of her time. Jess Hendel from our content team, Jennifer Cummings from our professional learning team, Aviv, who without her, none of this would have happened from our marketing team. So yeah, please, we've got an email address for you to use, and thank you so much. Thank y'all for the time.